So here's something interesting. Electric and hybrid vehicles are taking over the world, like here in Switzerland behind me. Between 2022 and the end of 2023, the market for battery electric vehicles grew from 17.3% to 20.9%, while plug-in hybrids rose from 8% to 9.2%. In total, 30.1% of new cars sold here in Switzerland were electric powered. This is according to Swiss eMobility. I mean, when you look at a Tesla, like the ones behind me, it looks pretty different. It looks cool, right? But like other electric cars, it's expensive for us who are buying it in rands. But we'll come back to that. There exists a much more important issue that needs to be addressed where South Africa and automotive vehicles are concerned. There is an urgency for change in our car making industry, which currently manufactures around 600,000 vehicles annually. 60% are for export and 300,000 are imported. This is according to figures from the Automotive Business Council, also known as Naamsa. The need to transform this industry is not only vital for environmental purposes, right? But it's also there to protect 140,000 jobs in manufacturing and also to maintain our global competitiveness. The government isn't too far off behind this, right? As there is a Presidential Climate Commission and their report from 2022 underlined this need quite clearly. Accordingly, they acknowledge the risks and opportunities in the transition towards net zero emissions and what that would take and what it would mean for our automotive industry. The reality is that our local component manufacturing industry faces a seismic shift in an EV landscape that is fast evolving. In November of 2023, the Department of Trade and Industry, as well as Competition, released the Electric Vehicles White Paper, which outlined a policy framework that is there to support the local EV markets. This was complemented by an announcement from the Finance Minister regarding a 150% tax rebate for automotive manufacturers who repurposed or established new plants for electric vehicle production in South Africa. This was done so that it would ensure that South Africa's relevance on the global automotive stage is not decreased. Our local component manufacturing industry is currently very adept at supplying internal combustion engines, but it faces a seismic shift in an EV landscape where up to 60% of costs are attributed now to the production of batteries and motors. We need to evolve. Unfortunately, South Africa is currently very ill prepared for EV battery manufacturing. While we have significant reserves of critical minerals like manganese, the processing and beneficiation typically occurs in countries like China who have more advanced manufacturing capabilities in this sector. Creating a logistical carbon footprint is also one of the things, and this compromises to the competitiveness in the EV production space just globally. For Africa to establish significance in the EV manufacturing market, regional coordination is very necessary to build critical mineral mining and battery manufacturing supply chains. This will see our industry balance its support for internal combustion engines and the emerging EV parts markets. This will include electric motors as well as battery components. But there could be another plus side to EVs. The comparative simple design of electric vehicles will provide an opportunity for sub-Saharan Africa to move away from accepting second-hand vehicles and also towards a new local electric vehicle industry. Okay, you're asking me, how is this going to work? Look, workers in hundreds of thousands of jobs make combustion engines. These workers could be reskilled to make electric vehicles. That's the first one. Africa already has the skills to design and produce powertrain components, such as batteries and electric motors. Setting up local industries would also spare sub-Saharan Africa from being flooded by cheap electric vehicle imports that don't contribute to local employment, or would not in that case. Okay, the big question, why aren't South Africans buying EVs?
So I'm not in Switzerland anymore. The battery died and I had a flight to catch. Didn't want to miss that. But I want us to continue with the story. So why aren't South Africans buying EVs? Now, one of the reasons for the low uptake is that there is a high cost of electric vehicles in South Africa. They've also got limited range and their batteries are slow to charge, which is a problem for long distance or frequent driving. The inability of countries like South Africa to generate and distribute enough clean electricity is also a barrier to electrifying vehicles. However, the rollout of electric motorcycles and small public transport vehicles has already started in South Africa. Now, if all vehicles could be made locally, there would be a tremendous economic benefit for the region. Transitioning to electric mobility would mean that we would have to invest in electricity infrastructure. Electric vehicle charging stations would have to be put up for all types of cars, just like the Tesla supercharger that I was at in Switzerland. But don't worry, that work has started in South Africa and it's happening, at least on major routes. South African company Zero Carbon Charge has made a pledge of 9.4 billion rand towards investing in KwaZulu-Natal. This investment would be geared towards the development of a network of electric vehicle charging stations over the next 10 years. The KZN network will consist of 31 sites, 17 of which will be dedicated to electric passenger and light commercial vehicles, and 14 will be for truck battery swapping stations. The sites will be strategically located at 150 kilometer intervals, and the rollout is expected to begin in June of 2025, with it first going live on the N3 highway in April of 2026. Each charging station will be powered by on-site renewable energy, featuring solar panels, advanced battery storage systems, and ultra-fast chargers, as well as well-equipped with rest stops. Sounds really cool. This simple but impactful endeavor would open up the Joburg to Durban route to trucks as well as passenger electric cars alike. It would do it in a big way. But there's also the issue of the cost of electric cars that we need to contend with. A necessary reform in updating the ad valorem tax is needed in South Africa. This is something that affects the cost of cars in the country and remains unchanged for nearly 3 decades. Actually, the same tax is the reason why your iPhone as well as your cars are so high. In layman terms, the luxury goods tax, also known as the ad valorem excise duty, is a tax that's calculated on the item's selling price, whether locally manufactured or imported. Products taxed include cosmetics, motor vehicles, electronics, and other high-end items. Currently, even entry-level vehicles in South Africa that are priced at 250,000 are subject to this tax. But come on, man, that's kind of steep, because like 250,000 is a Polo. It's a new Polo, which isn't really luxury. So guys, I think you need to start speaking to your government about this. A recalibration of these type of laws would make EVs more financially accessible to the volumes market, and it also stimulate local demand. Also, temporarily lifting import duties on EVs could catalyze consumption and encourage manufacturers to actually invest in local production. It sounds really simple, but you know these political types. It's like they don't even watch the news, because major automakers around the world have announced multiple rounds of layoffs and factory closures in recent weeks, as they've also been struggling to turn a profit when it comes to EVs. And also, they're facing potential onslaught from cheaper competition. For instance, Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis, they plan to slash thousands of their workforce in the coming months. Volkswagen, which also operates in South Africa, has announced plans to shut 3 of its factories in Germany though, which could come with massive layoffs. South Africa must start to adapt, and very soon in fact. At present, most EVs for South Africans are priced above 500,000 Rand. This constrains the market. To drive local demand and lay the groundwork for a robust EV industry, we need to target a price of around 250 to 350,000 Rand or even less. If we can achieve a goal of more than 5% of new car sales being electric by 2026, which is around 30,000 annual units, this could be the tipping point, which could spur necessary infrastructure spending, which would include widespread EV charging stations everywhere. It's actually not too late for South Africa to embrace the EV revolution. With the right policies and decisions, the nation can leverage its numerous advantages to create a thriving automotive industry that is going EV. But they need to ensure that it's sustainable and competitive. By encouraging domestic demand over the next 5 to 7 years, we could attract investment and also ensure a vibrant automotive sector that extends into the 2030s. Let's aim for more than 500,000 EVs on South African roads by 2030. Let's also solidify our future and the automotive industry. China have 6 years to respond, because sorry Elon, your cars are currently too expensive for us. But actually, let me know, what do you guys think about EVs and their pricing and the industry that they're set to disrupt and create? Let us know in the comments. Let's chat there. Thank you for watching this video until the end, even with its little mishaps. I hope that you found it interesting, because it definitely was for us to make for you. Check out one of these other videos and hopefully they'll be just as interesting as this one. Cheers.